Yo! Hey, what's up, guys? Guess what this video is about? You see all that lovely goodness in front of you? Comics. Hey, what's up, guys? This video is in dedication towards my upcoming 1 year of collecting comic books. That's right. I've been collecting comic books for almost 1 year now, and I figured, you know what? I'm gonna do a video. Since I've been promising it, I've been mentioning about it in my other videos, and I'm gonna do it, okay? Almost 1 year, I would say in May last year, May 25th, 26th, I started collecting comic books again. Okay? And the reason why that specific date, why did you start collecting comic books at that time, Rick? Well, it's because Phoenix, Arizona, we have an annual comic book convention. And last year was my first time going to it in a long time. The last comic book convention, besides last year that I went to, had to have been in, what year was it? 92? 91? So it was a long time ago. So this is kind of like I mentioned, guys, it's been almost 1 year, and I want to show all of you, all of my subscribers, all of my viewers, how well I've been doing and what I've been collecting. And the reason why I think this is going to be a pretty popular video is because I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of private messages asking, hey Rick, I have a question, I'm starting my collection. Hey Rick, I'm starting collecting like you and blah blah blah, and a lot of new collectors, which is awesome. So hopefully this video can go out to a lot of new collectors, and hopefully a lot of you old collectors, not by age, but I mean, you know, seasoned collectors that's been collecting for a long time, just to basically show, hey, remember your first year? Hey, this is my first year. It's kind of a big deal for me. So don't be harsh. We're like, oh, that comic sucks. So be gentle. Anyways, guys, so what you see here, guys, is kind of just a quick preview what I have in my collection in regards to Silver Age. Kind of a heads up, I don't really have a whole lot of Silver Age. I know it may seem like it, but I really don't. And this is still kind of a little pinch of what I have. But what I do have, the small collection, are awesome. Really cool comics. And again, besides this, I'm going to show you everything that I've collected, especially, you know, with modern. Going back to when I first, you know, went back to the comic book store, I got my first comic again, what I bought at Comic-Con, why I went to Comic-Con, and how basically I store my comics. As you can see here, I'm going to be talking about that. Now, I know some of you have probably seen my videos where I mention, or at least you can see it in the background, and I'm going to be talking about that, especially, you know, how I do it, to see if any of you do it similar, or maybe can give you guys some advice, especially you new comic book collectors, some advice on how to, you know, stack and how to collect your boxes, because I think I do it a little differently, only because it helps me, it makes me a better comic book collector, I guess. I don't know. So anyways, guys, I'm going to try to keep this video under 15 minutes, so let's jump to the next section. These three comic books, guys, that you see here in front of you, they are responsible for rekindling or relaunching my comic book collecting habit or addiction. These three comic books, guys, are basically what started everything off again back in May around 25th, 26th of 2011. I was at our local Phoenix Comic Book Convention here in Arizona, and you know what? My intention was not to go and start buying comic books. I went to the convention last year for one purpose: to meet Stan Lee, to get his autograph, to take his picture. That's why I went. So when I was walking around the convention center, looking at other comic book collections they had there, other dealers, and I saw this one. And I remember back in the 80s, late 80s, I wanted this comic book. I really wanted it. I was a huge Venom fan back then. But unfortunately, at that time, I believe this comic was like maybe $180, maybe $200 back then. And we just couldn't afford it. You know, my mother couldn't afford it, I couldn't afford it, so I never really bought it. At the comic book convention, I saw it again. I'm like, oh man, I've always wanted that when I was young. How much was it? How much is it? So the guy had it there for $160. And it's an awesome, awesome condition, guys. I would have to say maybe a 9.4, 9.2, maybe the lowest. So it's in really good shape. I'd be lucky, I doubt it though, to even get a 9.6. I mean, there's no creases at all. There's no indentations. It's just maybe a little wear here in the corners, and that's pretty much it. So as for 160, I'm like, oh man, that's a little bit too much. I was able to talk the guy down to 120. He offered 120, or I offered 120, and boom, he took it. So I was able to get the one comic book that I've always wanted when I was a kid, Spider-Man 300. Yep. I wanted to share that with you guys because this is somewhat like my first comic book that rekindled everything. After this, other comic books followed. And what I mean by that, Fear Itself. While I was there at the convention center, I was looking, to see, what was the newest thing? What was the new story arc, the new big story for either Marvel or DC. DC, apparently I just missed the Blackest Night storyline, the story arc. I just missed that. And there was rumors telling me like, yeah, well, DC is talking about redoing their whole DC line. So I was introduced to the Fear Itself. There at the convention center, I really didn't buy any other comic books than my Spider-Man 300 because there are just too many people there. I didn't really have a chance to look. I get nervous. I get flustered. It just bothers me. Just a crowd of people around me, and some of them stunk, and some of them were just really obese and shoving a little bit, trying to get into comic book boxes, and it bothered me. I just didn't want to get into a fight. I wanted to see Stan Lee, so I just walked around. Anyways, after the comic book convention, the following weekend, I went down to my local comic book store and I bought these two. Okay, the reason why I bought these two were because of the cover. I'm a huge Hulk fan. He's one of my favorite all-time characters, and the Fear Itself line seemed really interesting. These two issues showed off, basically Hulk's power, Hulk's strength, and what's actually happening to the Fear Itself storyline, so it got me hooked. Now, I know a lot of you out there really did not like the Fear Itself, and to be honest with you, I personally liked the story, but the ending sucked. I really hated the ending. Anyways, guys, this is what started it off for me. As soon as I read these issues, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get some more. And guess what? I got some more. I went back, I went to eBay, and I bought, and I bought, and I bought. I loved this story because finally I got to see a lot of verses. I'm the kind of guy that likes to collect and read versus type storylines, meaning Hulk versus the Thing, right? Juggernaut versus the Hulk, Doctor Strange versus Submariner. I love those type of battles. And so this Fear Itself had it all from. Since I love this story so much, I found out there were variants. Fear Itself, Book 2 and Book 3. These guys are two of my favoriteest covers in the Fear Itself line. They're just awesome. I plan to at least take these two to this year's comic book convention here in Phoenix to get them signed by Scott Emonen, I believe his name is. Emonen? The actual artist that drew this. He's going to be there this year at our convention, and I hope to get these signed. So basically, again guys, to reiterate everything, Fear Itself was the starting point for me to start collecting comic books. So forgive me guys if some of you have talked negatively about Fear Itself and I've posted a comment. I'm sorry, but Fear Itself to me is kind of dear to me because I pretty much have almost all of the storyline. The only ones I don't have of Fear Itself are basically the ones that just blah blah blah. A lot of the Avengers ones were just blah blah blah, a lot of talk. I wanted the action, I wanted the fighting. So especially the part where Hulk versus Dracula, right there, this was awesome for me. I couldn't get enough of that. So I started collecting more and more and more. And soon enough, I filled up my first box of comic books within, I believe, a month and a half. As you can see here, Fear Itself, Marvel Zombies, Batman, Hulk, Spider-Man. I had a lot of other comic books in here, not just these 5 titles. These other comic books have been designated for other spots in my boxes, but you get the gist. I filled up one box in a month and a half, and I was surprised. So with that being said, guys, let me go ahead and introduce you to my collection. And this is where I keep my entire comic book collection, guys. In this 6-foot wire rack shelf. And as you can tell, I don't really have a lot of boxes. The boxes I do have, like these 5 right here, are mainly Bronze and Modern Age comics. I would say somewhat full, and I'm not quite sure if you can see from here. There we go. I have a weird numbering, labeling system on the boxes, which I will go over with you later on, just to give you guys kind of a heads up, or at least an example of how I store and arrange my comic books. These 2 boxes right here, guys, I keep all of my vintage, and here I keep all of my horror magazines and Silver Age, some Golden Age in there also. So it's a pretty cool box, which I'll go over with you at a later time because I'm going to be doing videos on that specific box right there. Jumping over here, guys, this is kind of my comic book bagging station. I don't have any boards here. I keep them in a different location, but all of my bags are My Light 2. In this little pile here, I keep all of my Silver Age My Lights, and over here I keep all of my current modern size My Lights. I actually need to order some more. I only have 50 left. I have a really cool place, guys, if some of you are interested. A really cool place online that I can get 200 bags for under like 35 bucks. And that's where I usually get all mine. So I know a lot of you have asking me, where do you get them? How do you afford them? They're so expensive. True, that's true. But being the fact that I get usually a huge bundle of them, it's really well worth it. And then, of course, I have my Dynamo labeler, which I use labels for my black dividers. These come in 2 colors, guys, black and white. I usually choose black because, I don't know, it looks better, in my opinion, against the comics. See, as you can tell, there's a white one right here, and then the black one, the white labels. I don't know, just looks better. And then, of course, guys, move it up to the top. I have, there's a comic book. Oh, I don't know how that got there. But here I keep my comic book price guide. I keep 2 trade paperbacks right here. The Death of Superman and Spawn versus Batman. A very, very cool book. And then right over here, guys, I keep a couple Silver Age comics that I'm trying to trade, but yeah, that'll be a different video. And down here, I keep my iPad. I take my iPad with me wherever I go, especially if I go to the comic book conventions or stores, because this iPad holds my entire comic book collection. So if there's something I'm not too quite sure about, I want to buy, oh wait, do I already have that comic book already? This is good reference for me to remember, because in my comic book collection, guys, my entire collection, I have close to 700 comics. I know that's far in comparison to a lot of you out there, but being the fact that this is almost 1 year of collecting comic books, I think I did a pretty good job. Almost 700 and a bunch of old school vintage, really high priced comics. Not bad. But anyways, guys, let me go ahead and show you how I store and arrange my comic books. Be right back.